Hello and welcome to this introductory course for users in the educational system to the world of cybersecurity. I am Undubeze Blessing Oluchi, and you'll be hearing my voice throughout the duration of this course as your instructor. Welcome as we dive into the world of cybersecurity. Course modules. This course covers 4 different modules. Each module will be treated separately to give an idea and a holistic view of what it is talking about. Module 1. This will cover Introduction to Cybersecurity. Module 2. This will cover the world of attacks, threats, and risk. Module 3. This will cover practical steps to cybersecurity. And Module 4. This will cover the cybersecurity trends and resources and where you can get these resources to advance in your cybersecurity journey. Join me as we go into the world of cybersecurity and introduction. Imagine this. A teacher receives an email from someone he thinks is his student. He goes ahead to download the file to be able to review the assignment and grade the students. He finds out that he needs an update to an app to be able to view the documents sent by the students. In trying to make the update, he sees a link that redirects him to install the update and clicks on it. After a while, he notices a prompt to restart his system in order to complete the process of installation and proceeds to click OK. He tries logging in and finds out his password doesn't work again. All of a sudden, he sees a prompt that reads, "Pay 1 million naira to 01234 Red Bank or lose all your files in the next 24 hours. Access blocked." What do you think happened? History of cybersecurity. Before we talk about what happened to this teacher, we're going to look at why cybersecurity needs to be known, or why we're even looking at cybersecurity at all in the educational space. The introduction of cybersecurity into the educational system dates back to the early days of computer introduction into educational system. When we started using computers to learn, to pass across information, to teach, and started using numerous devices that are connected to numerous networks, and started using the World Wide Web in the educational system, in getting information, saving files, transferring files. All this spurred the need for cybersecurity and why we needed it, or why we're learning about it today. In the 1980s, the Morris worm incident hit. It spread by copying itself from one computer to another on the same network. Once it infected a computer, it made it unstable and crashed, causing system downtime on that computer. It then copied itself to another computer on that same network and did the same, causing it to become unstable and crashing. This incident affected many universities and educational systems in the 1980s and had a significant impact on education because files were lost, researches were lost, data couldn't be recovered, all because of system downtime and the crashing of all the systems. It spurred the need for cybersecurity, especially in education, to safeguard details, to safeguard information, and to safeguard resources. In Nigeria, it became a full presence in the 2000s. In 2007, the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITAD, developed the Nigerian National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy that sets out to guide the introduction of cybersecurity, the use and the integration of cybersecurity into the educational space, creating policies and strategies that can be implemented by users and administrators across different fields. This brought about the widespread of cybersecurity and changed it from a novelty to something that everybody has to embrace to become better at. What then is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is a process of protecting devices, networks, sensitive information, and other digital systems from unauthorized access, theft, damage, or other malicious activities. It involves measures and techniques that are put in place to prevent, detect, and respond to cyber threats and attacks. This is talking about how we protect our devices, our networks, sensitive information, digital systems, digital data from unauthorized access, theft, damage, and other malicious activities. Cybersecurity is concerned about detecting. How do you detect that there's an unauthorized access? How do you prevent for damages? How do you respond to any incident after it has happened? Simply put, cybersecurity is like having a big invisible wall or shield that helps keep our computers and internet safe from the bad guys. Now we know what cybersecurity entails, keeping our networks, our security, our resources, our devices safe from bad guys. What are the different branches and what are the different categories of cybersecurity? This section will cover the umbrella divisions of cybersecurity. These are the different divisions that can be grouped into what cybersecurity entails. We have network security. This covers the security of computer networks and connections by implementing various security measures. This is how we ensure that our network is connected properly and implementing various security measures to make sure that we don't have unauthorized access or breaches to our network. Application security. This is the securing of software applications using techniques to test, review, scan, and profile solutions as required. Application security is a branch of cybersecurity that is concerned with our softwares, ensuring that they are safe at all times, that we have the right versions, that we are updating it regularly, that we are scanning for different malicious activities, and that we are reviewing and testing to make sure that all our softwares are at the right version and updated at the right time. Information security. Usually and often confused with what cybersecurity is. Information security is the protection of data and information in all its forms. Data and information can be in three major forms. We have in transmission. This is when you're sharing your data. This is when you're sharing information from point A or from one point to another. Data in use. This is when you're actually using the data you've received from another source or from another point, and you're using it for another purpose, like when you receive different files and join everything into a presentation or into a report. This is data in use. And we have data in storage. This is when you're not using these files, you're not using these systems or these resources, and you store them in either external storage devices or with different physical devices. All these forms of data must be ensured that they are always secure. Information security is ensuring that data or information in whatever form is made secure at all times. Identity and access management, also known as IAM. This involves the management of users' identities and access to data, information, and resources through various mechanisms. Simply put, it is making sure that whoever needs access to a particular resource, example website, an account, or a particular library access, is giving that access. A good example can be getting your library access to be able to use the books in the library. That is all about managing the identities and access of individuals to such resources. So the identity and access management is all about making sure that users have access to the right resources, and that a user is not given access to any resource or any information that they are not supposed to have access to. Incident response and management. This has to do with the process of responding and managing cyber incidents. This is what we call the curative part of cybersecurity. This is after an incident has happened or a breach has occurred. This part of cybersecurity is concerned with what can be done to respond to it, what can be done to manage these cyber incidents. And we have security awareness. A very good example is what we're doing right now. This is the practice of educating users or individuals on everything and anything on cybersecurity. This is how we get information and be kept abreast of changes, trends, and resources that has to do with cybersecurity. All of these are the major branches and the major categories of what cybersecurity entails. The CIA of cybersecurity, also known as confidentiality, integrity, and availability of cybersecurity. The goal of cybersecurity is generally referred to as the CIA of cybersecurity because it is the product of all cybersecurity activities, practice, or action. This means that in whatever action or whatever part of cybersecurity that you're carrying out, the goal is to ensure that the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of resources are secured at all times. This is the CIA triad of cybersecurity. It protects digital information and assets by using various techniques and technologies. Confidentiality. This refers to the protection of sensitive information from unauthorized access and disclosure. It ensures that information is only accessible by authorized users and that it remains confidential during transmission, use, and or storage. Remember, we talked about the different forms in which information or data can be, either in storage, whether when it is in use or in transmission. Confidentiality is ensuring that any form in which information is, it is only accessible, it can only be accessed, it can only be seen, it can only be used by the users, the authorized users, the owners of this information, or the owners of these files, or the owners of these resources. Educational institutions, example universities, colleges, technical schools, high schools, primary schools, secondary schools, or any form of educational institution in general, are home to a wealth of valuable intellectual properties, including research, data, patents, and proprietary technology. Cybersecurity helps to safeguard these valuable assets and prevent unauthorized access, theft, or destruction of these resources. Breaches in confidentiality can lead to numerous damages, such as loss of reputation, financial loss, legal action, and more. By understanding cybersecurity and ensuring confidentiality, educational institutions can minimize the risks of such damages. Integrity. This is the ability to trust an information and or a system not to be tampered or altered. In educational institutions where documents, files, and numerous other resources are highly classified, it is important to ensure that the highest degree of integrity is maintained at all times. This can be seen in having your systems not to be hacked or to be accessed remotely by other users, and having your files, when you keep them safe or in safe locations, or you're using a shared folder, they are all secure at all times. It is ensuring that any and all forms of resources are kept highly classified. Cybersecurity provides resources and avenues to ensure continued integrity of processes, materials, resources in the educational system. Knowing about cybersecurity and understanding what it entails gives you all the resources and avenues and lets you know how can you keep your physical devices from being tampered with. What are the things you can use to save your files in a way that it cannot be tampered or altered. All these things can be learned, and all these things are the goal of learning about cybersecurity. Availability. This is the accessibility and usability of information or resources when needed. Simply put, this is making sure that information or resources are accessible to the users and can be used by them at that particular point when they are needed by the users. Schools, educational institutions, and all colleges of education and different forms of regulatory body in the educational system rely heavily on technology for teaching, learning, research, administration, and other numerous purposes. The inability to access a particular technology, website, file, or even resources at a particular time can disrupt the whole learning process or affect productivity and goals set. It is very important that we note that cybersecurity ensures that all the resources needed, whether for learning, whether for saving or for administrative purposes, are readily available, which guards against breaches, issues, or incidents that can disrupt the access to them. Availability is ensuring that a user can be able to access a particular website, a particular platform, a particular file or resources, material when they are needed. It's assuming or is saying that if you're going to the library to get a book, you should be able to access it. That book must be available. There must not be issues of saying there has been thefts or it has been taken away and no one has returned it. Availability is ensuring that you have continuous access and you can use any information or any resources that should be available when needed. Importance of cybersecurity. The CIA Triad, as we've seen, provides a guide to cybersecurity and can be used to highlight the importance of cybersecurity to educators. We'll find out in our previous section now that to have access to information or resources when we need it is very, very important, and that integrity of information, knowing that any information or any file given to you has not been tampered with, knowing that the system you're using doesn't have a spyware, or knowing that every of the resources you use is confidential. When you're sending an information or you're sharing the script to an exam, it is secure, is what cybersecurity ensures and entails. Importance of cybersecurity includes protection of resources, peopleware, hardware and software, ensuring privacy, maintaining trust in technology and the internet, preventing disruptions, saving time and money, increases productivity and compliance with regulation. All these are the way cybersecurity helps in the educational sense. It ensures that individuals or users' privacy is there, helps the users maintain the trust in their technology and know that their resources, their files or the data are not being tampered with. It increases productivity. When you're sure that your system wouldn't be disrupted and there's nothing going to affect your resources, you're able to concentrate more and be more productive, saving you time and money and resources while ensuring that you're compliant with all regulations in terms of data usage, in terms of resources or software or hardware being utilized. Congratulations, you have completed this module. Here are some important things you have learned. We've talked about the history of cybersecurity and how it was evolved. We mentioned how the issue of the Morris worm spurred the need for cybersecurity in education and how it became imperative that systems and networks can be compromised, leading to system downtime and crashes in a very short period of time, making educators know that there is need for them to be aware of different vices and malicious activities that can happen and how they can protect themselves from all this. We also went ahead to talk about the key concept of cybersecurity and what it is, where we learned that cybersecurity simply means protecting our resources, our devices, networks, sensitive information from unauthorized access, damage or threats, basically from the bad guys, while ensuring that we detect early, we prevent and we respond to cyber incidents on time. We also discussed the different branches of cybersecurity, talking about the umbrella categories that every activity under cybersecurity falls into. We talked about the network security, application security, information security, identity and access management, sometimes referred to as IAM. We also talked about incident response and management, what to do after an incident has occurred or an attack has happened, how to go about it. And we talked about cybersecurity awareness, which is what we're doing right now, learning about cybersecurity and everything that it entails. We also discussed the importance of confidentiality, integrity, and availability, how these three triads of cybersecurity is very important, especially for educators. We looked at why cybersecurity is crucial in education, how it helps keep with privacy, how it reinforces trust in cybersecurity resources, in our networks, in our computers, in our devices, and how it can protect users in education.